Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Level 1 News. Today is January 21st, and we're doing robot and nonsense. And there was another category that I instantly forgot.
That's right there, Kristen.
Oh, yeah.
That's right there. Social media and Meta, which is Facebook, let's face it. They're just trying to change their name because Facebook has a bad reputation. And
Didn't work.
They really want to fix that reputation. But if you're the guy who's in charge of fixing that reputation, what do? Well, you walk out. That's what you do. Because what else can you do?
You look around, it's just Meta's head of PR leaves the company on fire, according to Gizmodo. Is the company really on fire? Well, their head of PR has left, and you don't immediately have a replacement.
It might not be on fire, but there's a suspicious smell. And I was like, was that smoke?
No, that's just the laser printer. Don't worry.
He's like, I think that's smoke, and no one's listening to him, so he just leaves.
Is that ozone? That's got to be ozone, right?
Did you see that crazy apartment fire?
Here in town?
No, it was in New York, I think.
No.
Every person that died in that fire, and there were a bunch, were the ones that went to the fire escape. Because the fire escape was a common conduit across the whole building. And the fire was at the low floor. The people who stuffed a wet towel under their door, perfectly fine.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, that's got nothing to do with LinkedIn. But if you'll recall, at the very beginning of the dark times, everybody was trying to think of new technology. Okay, people are trapped at home. What kind of new technology can I come up with? And Clubhouse, remember what a hit Clubhouse was? For like 3 months? And then everybody was like, oh, that's phone calls.
We already have this.
We do.
But the LinkedIn team was already working on it. I imagine they've been a little bit crestfallen these past few months before launch.
LinkedIn to launch audio events later this month. Boy, LinkedIn, they're so far behind the times.
Does anyone like LinkedIn?
No.
I guess job searchers, but...
And they're going to leak everybody's data. And, Linda, since they bought Linda, that's just gone downhill. I mean, it's just... LinkedIn is just... they're so bad.
Martin Shkreli banned for life from drug industry? I thought all that was already settled. Are they letting him out?
I don't know. Breaking at the top of this website.
You know what? We might have to insert a breaking story in here.
It won't be breaking by the time they watch this.
But first, let's talk about an old story, a little over a year old, to be exact.
Throwback Thursday.
It's still happening. Now, you're thinking, like, why is this coming up all of a sudden? Midterm elections. That's why.
Oh, my God. January 6th.
Yeah, that's a minefield. I don't
Demonetized.
Yeah. The committee has subpoenaed Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit in probe of the thing that happened on that day about a year ago, a little over, because they want to know. But really,
I hope they're really just making a collection of memes that respond that day.
It's so frustrating this is happening because of midterm elections and not because of, again...
The threat it actually was.
Remember Monday's story about how it's like, let's consult the database of everything that you've ever done in order to find something wrong because, you've been targeted?
Yeah, I absolutely don't think they're looking for information about the people they already know about. I think they're looking for people they don't know about.
But that would have been fine if they'd started that on time, but the timing of this is very suspicious.
Yeah, they really need this because listen, Biden's numbers are oh boy, you don't want to talk about that. You got to distract, and that's a beautiful distraction. Also, what a disappointment from CNBC. There is literally not a single additional detail. Look at this.
Pharma Bro Martin Shkreli banned for life from drug industry in order to pay $64.6 million. Okay, we don't have any details on this story. He's banned from the drug industry for life for hiking drug prices.
I don't think it's that. I think it's because of the fraud, right?
But how is that? I mean, we raided some guy in Virginia, his house, because he bought 10 or 15,000 N95 masks and was selling them for 400% markup. But the cost of insulin, and there have been no raids.
That's legal.
I'm pretty sure that buying low and selling high is also legal, but maybe not.
It is kind of crappy for the people who depend on insulin to survive.
But I don't agree that we should have gone after the guy with the masks.
I agree, yeah. As what I'm saying is, if you're going to go after the guy with the masks, the priority should have been the insulin people. But
the whole insurance industry should be the ones they're after.
In a disgusting way, and I realize what this is about to sound like, but in a reprehensible way, Martin Shkreli is the ant and we're the grasshoppers.
Because he drew it like it was the boiling frog, and it's like, no, you turned the heat up too fast, Martin.
That's a good way of putting it. You bled the pig too much. You gotta be careful about that. Give it some time. Give it like let
it get acclimated.
A pudding cup, maybe a Gatorade. Get its blood.
$1,400 check.
Some pudding and some Gatorade. Also about the level of care you'll get in an ICU right now because they don't have any nurses.
They won't even let you in.
Yeah.
Is that bone poking through your skin? All right, I guess you can come in.
My cousin who got in that car wreck during the snowstorm last week, they tried to take him to the hospital that was in the area, and they're like, we can't set this bone here. He had to go all the way to like the big city to get it done.
Was that an ambulance? Or a helicopter?
Oh, no. Well, so they took him to the ambulance to the local hospital, and then like, we don't have anyone to set the bone. So then he had to be airlifted.
Wow. Who pays for that?
His company, because he was driving his company's car.
Oh,
thankfully.
Wow.
Thankfully, because otherwise that would be on him.
That's lucky. Well, Mozilla is doing what a lot of companies are doing, and that is betraying the other tech companies to improve themselves. And I don't know, like maybe this whole, like feeding frenzy, they eat each other. Maybe this is the best thing for us, right? Like it's like when the government is gridlocked and they have to leave us alone.
I don't know. It's like the time that she swallowed the spider to catch the fly.
Maybe. But what if the fly was poisonous?
Mozilla is going to track Facebook tracking you.
Oh, that doesn't really make me feel good, but okay.
What are we going to swallow to get the spider? To get the fly?
A bird. A live bird.
Yeah, so this is the Facebook Pixel. Mozilla is going to start showing you when the Facebook Pixel is tracking you, which is pretty much all the time.
Yes. Oh, look, it's on this website.
I felt really good. I had a client email me, and they were like, oh, we want to put the Facebook Pixel on the website. Now, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm going to say, sure. Yeah, no problem. And they're like, does that cost anything? And I was like, okay, here's my chance. No, it doesn't cost you a thing. Facebook loves to spy on you. And she was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. And I was like, yes. That's a win for the good guys.
Well, my clients don't care, though. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Put it on there.
I cost myself like 2 billable hours there.
Yeah.
So I really took one for the team. Germany is having a bit of a problem with free speech. Oh, they don't like it. They don't like it, especially a certain kind of hesitation.
Oh, this should have come after the first story.
So, what first story?
The one about the event from last January. Because one of the things in the court case was about this also.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're saying that's the new talking point, right? After 2 or 3 decades of constant conflict, our leaders are just like, the Middle East, don't worry about it. That was never really an issue. The issue is domestic terrorism. They're among us. And Germany is selling that same can of goods here.
Yeah, Telegram could be shut down in Germany, the government warns. Why is this? It's because we can't spy on these communications of these extremist groups.
And we know that Germany, their appetite for spying is just as insatiable as ours. And we've often worked with them in that regard.
Yeah, one of 5 countries keeping an eye on things.
And when you think of countries that are powerful and have a major tech presence, you don't think of Nigeria.
No.
Pretty far down on the list, but they are also flexing their muscles with the big tech companies.
Nigeria lifts the ban on Twitter, says the social media giant has met its conditions.
Now, they didn't technically meet the conditions. The conditions are, like everybody else, you have to have a physical building. You have to have somebody we can go and arrest if you make us mad, and so on and so forth. Twitter has not done that, but they have said they might do it later. And I have a feeling that the Nigerian people are really angry about this ban, so this is a political move right here. But hey, if you're Nigerian, enjoy those tweets. Actually, don't
go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Only go to weather Twitter, where you can watch live action models of your weather patterns in your part of the world.
Notice that only 2 of us supported that thought.
No.
Woo, Twitter.
Metaverse. The metaverse is the hot new thing. Although, do you know anybody who has experienced the metaverse in IRL?
No.
This is not the metaverse that we know and love because these people have legs.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's probably another unique sentence uttered in the history of humanity.
Are the green text bubbles and the blue text bubbles in 2 years? Is that going to be legs and no legs?
I saw a really good parody video. I started to include it, but I didn't, about the metaverse. That was like Mark Zuckerberg offering you baby rays. It was very disturbing.
I'm gonna come up with a new slur here. We'll call them ambos for ambulatory. Oh, it's the ambos. Look at their stupid footprints. But anyway, the metaverse it was not the first time anybody dreamt of this. In fact, long ago, someone dreamed of this. They did not have the technology to do it, but they kind of did it. And because they were the first, maybe they get a second shot.
Second Life founder returns to revamp his original metaverse. Philip Rosendale thinks the answer to a shared future world lies in the game universe he launched in 2003. There are a lot of Second Life fans out there. Oh boy.
And Second Life was the first to do digital currency, digital real estate, clothing. Now that I'm thinking about it, should we just kill this guy? Look what he's done to us.
It's funny because he did all those things, and yet he got none of the benefit from all of those things.
Yeah, that's right.
When did it come out? What year?
2003.
Oh, okay. Again, I'll talk about Guy Online, but Guy Online also had a similar thing where you could like post on a forum and you had an avatar, and people were very weird about what clothes you wore on your avatar, and they had holiday events, and it was very similar to that kind of thing.
There was even a predecessor to Second Life, which was Virtus VR, and that was you were just a disembodied floating head.
Oh yeah. Anti-ambo team.
Yeah.
Great. Did I put the one in about the dresses? I might have forgotten to do that. At the end, we'll revisit it.
Okay. I was like, oh, I don't remember.
And moving on to robot. AI, obviously. You know what? I've sometimes Spotify makes terrible mistakes about what I want to listen to. And they don't put the downvote button on everything. That is such a stupid UI decision. If you work for Spotify, I'm angry at you. But modern music, like nobody's really singing anymore. It's all software.
Yeah.
And this just cuts out the
heavily
middleman.
auto-tuned, yeah.
Yeah.
This AI software could turn you into a music star. Except me. There's no way.
I don't know. It does the music for you.
It does, yeah. Did you listen to any of it? There's a playlist linked for Spotify of some of these songs. They all kind of suck, but...
So what it does, it comes up with individual tracks and then mixes them and lets you sing over it. But then once that's done, it lets you tweak it further.
None of the songs I listened to on this list had music on them, or like no vocals rather. It was just like very basic. Here's a background beat. Here's some other sounds, and then it would just end abruptly.
I think it will let you sing over it though, right?
Yeah, it said so in the article.
But here's the thing, Boomy. What you can do is you can publish your music straight to Spotify, and you can monetize that. Which, like, wow, that's amazing, right? Except you don't own the music.
Yeah.
And Boomy gets the payments, and maybe they'll give you a cut.
They give you 80%.
For now.
For now.
They also point out there's like 15 other pieces of software that does the same thing and doesn't have that monetization, which argues the point, why BBC News did you feel to do this marketing piece?
Did they use some of that money that they got from that to market on there?
Second week in a row, we've got art and AI meeting together. Krista, you seemed somewhat disapproving last time.
This one I think is pretty cool because it's used for preservation.
And this is a massive painting. How big is this?
I've seen pictures. I've never been, but like I've seen pictures of it, and it is like it covers a huge wall. It's a big piece. And
right now, not only have you not seen it, but no one can look at it.
Yeah.
And that's why they're doing this.
How AI transformed Rembrandt's The Night Watch down to the pin-sharp particles of pigment. I can't remember what was the number of like little pixels and stuff in it.
Almost 8,500.
Whew.
8,500 images that are megapixels each, making this an insane gigapixel image, which is great because that'll be great for preservationists.
Well, yeah, they're getting ready to do a restoration of it, and they're like, we need to see how it looks now, and then try to get it as close as possible while they clean it and revarnish it and stuff.
717 gigapixels. The H6D 400 MS camera, Hasselblad, but that's a badass
the
camera.
Operation Night Watch team.
So yeah, they're gonna take it down and then stretch it over a new frame. And then, based on this picture, they're going to start the recovery efforts on it. that's got to be such a Krista. You have art experience. I imagine you have to do really specialized training for that.
Yeah.
But you
have
also
to get a graduate degree.
You have a high level of anxiety.
I couldn't do this.
How anxious would you even try?
No. When we were picking specialties, I think there was an art history specialty, and like I was just like, I would love to know more about the history side, but I would not want to do restoration. It requires a very meticulous hand too, and I just don't have that.
Why not? They should use CNC for that, right? Yeah. Gosh, how cool would it be to turn this painting into a program? And it's like it exactly recreates the brush strokes and everything down to the.
Well, like you and I think that's cool, but the art world is probably just like, wringing their hands, like, why are they here? Who are they? Get them out.
If you're into restoration, you want to watch it. There's a guy, I think it's called Bumgartner Restoration on YouTube, and he'll show you the whole process of what it takes, even for just small paintings where you have to like stretch them, repaint them, revarnish them, the whole process of that, and it's extremely meticulous work. Probably doesn't get paid well enough for it.
One of my favorite kinds of news stories is when they screw that up.
Yeah.
Hilariously. I mean, it's kind of depressing because it's unrecoverable.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious how bad they messed those up.
Yeah, I don't know how you get into that market and prove that you're worthy of doing it.
What if we get into a future where the thing is so good we're able to look at it, almost not quite at an atomic level, but you scan the original in like this does, and then you reproduce it, not just laying ink down the paper,
canvas.
But yeah, I mean all of the molecules and everything, and be like, no, the original is too important to display. This is a molecule by molecule replica.
I don't know that you could do that exactly. It wouldn't. I mean, it would probably be pretty close. Like to most people, they wouldn't be able to tell. But the issue is like some of the paints and stuff that they were using in the pigments, you can't reproduce now. So that's a huge issue too. So like a lot of times when they're doing a restoration, they'll take some of the modern paint and they'll just do like a tiny swab to see how they interact. Because if they don't interact correctly, you end up with a mess.
But if you started from nothing, couldn't you inkjet that basically?
I mean, if the technology were good enough and we're just talking about the atomic structure, it could recreate the atomic structure.
Like you could just lay down, and you wouldn't have to match the original paint. You just have to get the viscosity and the color right.
There's a lot of carbon and hydrogen and stuff like that here. So, it's like it doesn't matter that there's no pigment anymore. We literally rebuild the molecule.
We just rebuild it.
Why don't we just paint some new paintings? Come on.
Well, it's one of the things, too, that my professors would always talk about in my art history classes was always look at paintings in different books in different mediums, because how it's printed or how it displays on a screen is always going to be different. And ideally, you want to go in person to look at it because it's never going to look exactly the same when it's reproduced. It might be really close, but it won't be perfect.
Yeah, I saw some of those the paintings that have the effect like the Mona Lisa has, where it sort of is weird when you're at a different angle at one of the art museums in DC, and it was kind of haunting in person because it's like,
is it looking at me?
Yeah, it looks different than
yeah.
Yeah.
It's different to look at it in person, I think.
Chris, I think you just accidentally uncovered a reason to have multiple NFTs for art pieces.
I got the 37-degree angle
of the Mona Lisa, only if you're off to this side, and also if it's sunlight. If it's moonlight, it looks totally different.
There's a hint of blue in this lighting. It's mostly halogen.
How crazy is like my great-grandfather owned the NFT. It was 37 degrees of the Mona Lisa. It's just like, what?
I like that was kind of just an interesting conversation for a little bit, and then we found the immediate darkest spin. You could go with that.
And and based on everything else we've been reading,
yes,
that's exactly where it's going to go. And that's the same kind of thing that's here, because the line of things that we have seen that are terrifying, let's just go down the list that can de-anonymize you. Medical data, travel data.
Even benign travel data, like what time you went to Kroger.
Your keystrokes, your phone thumb strokes can do it.
Typos that you make frequently in online forums.
The magnetic field around your computer. It's just an astonishing number of things that you cannot escape that absolutely identify you, and they just keep adding to the list.
AI unmasks anonymous chess players, posing privacy risks. Software that identifies unique playing styles could lead to better tutorials of gameplay or just track you down. Are you in a third world regime that doesn't allow you to play chess? Well, now you can be tracked.
Those people always go for the rook early.
Do either of you play chess?
Not really.
I mean, I have.
I've never played chess. I don't know the rules.
Really?
Yeah, I've never played it. Never had anyone to play with growing up. Played a lot of checkers, but not chess.
It's a lot of fun. It's easy to learn and difficult to master.
There's a game on Steam four-dimensional chess that I've always wanted to try. It's chess, but there's a time element. Like you can move time.
Oh.
It looks very difficult. Maybe too advanced for us. Krista is absolutely just manic for weather stories right now.
I am. I've always liked weather, but for whatever reason, with all the weird weather we've had this winter, it's really just upped my weather content consumption. And this was an article I found.
And this is one of those crazy things that is the weird byproduct of everybody staying home that you do not expect. We've had a lot of these.
There was less lightning during the lockdowns, research finds. So the reason they think that this happened was because there are particles that get released, like aerosols and stuff, from pollution. And when there's a lot of them, there's more chances of them rubbing together and creating lightning. But with less of them, that means less lightning strikes.
See, I think there's a different reason. I think it's because by using the spike, the gods didn't need to strike people down
directly. Yeah, they used famine and not famine, but a disease and not acts of God.
Could go either way. I'm not sure. I haven't tested that theory, but I feel like it's a strong one.
There was part of me too that wondered if that was like just a weird year where there was low weather incidents and they were like, oh, it has to be for this reason, but I don't know. They seemed pretty convinced it was the particles that caused it. Neat.
The particles did nothing wrong. Now, if you were to say to someone that they had the heart of a pig, you'd probably be referring to law enforcement in some capacity. But not in this guy's case, because he truly does have the heart of a pig. He is a capitalist pig.
And at first, a man receives a heart from a genetically altered pig. So we're going to keep an eye on him and hope he stays alive for a long time. He was 57 years old, and he was not eligible for a human heart transplant. This was basically his last option. The pig had 3 or 4 human genes added and 2 pig genes deleted.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd already done
valves.
Okay, I thought pig valves had been done before.
This is the whole heart. The heart is purely responsible for all of his pulse, all of his blood pressure. It's doing all the jobs.
No pacemaker at all, just that pig heart.
I don't think so. The doctor, though, usually doctors are pretty upbeat about this thing, but the doctor's quote was something like, who knows what happens tomorrow, but for now it's good.
I guess if you have no other chance, I would probably take it too.
Well, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, pig heart, you get to be in the news. Yeah. What a great story to tell people that you meet, like just strangers.
Oh, yeah, I've got a pig heart.
Oh, yeah, pig heart.
You just bring it up randomly to your cashier at the coffee shop.
It was only the second successful surgery like this ever. The first one was replacing a kidney on somebody who was brain dead. The person who was brain dead didn't need a new kidney, but it's hard to find human beings to experiment on it. Brain dead people.
What if that guy was in a coma and he was in coma land, living out some fantasy disease, and he's like, wow, peeing is a lot easier today in fantasy. I don't know what that's about.
What happened?
I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's kind of terrifying. It makes you think, man, I should have a living will.
Oh, because do you not want that?
I don't know if I'd want to be. I'd probably just want to be dead. If I was brain dead and there was no other chance for me, I'd be like, just take me off the machine.
That's probably true. What if you were collecting money from the government and your family still needed it? Just keep you alive on that.
That's probably they're probably losing all that money paying for my medical bills. So
I got to say, one thing that has really been dialed down during the Biden administration is the anti-China sentiment, which is weird because China still seems to be militarizing and harassing Taiwan and doing all the things that they were.
I've still been seeing a lot of anti-China sentiment.
You?
Yeah,
that seems like a lot less, but it does seem like that a lot of the people who are the loudest when it comes to the anti-China sentiment might not really mean it.
China critic Tommy Tuberville once again bought Alibaba stock and options, $300,000 worth. This is the same senator who divested when news pointed out, hey, wait a minute, don't you have significant financial interests? Oh, and he also got in trouble for not disclosing his trades properly. How else is the Pelosi bot supposed to report on and then follow trades of senators in order to make money well above
I'm still angry about that
industry average?
So he sold puts, but then he bought at a lower strike. What he did was a spread. So he is trying to guess which way the market is moving. He's not buying shares. He's using options as an artificial way to do that. So he's still playing the market the same way. just higher stakes. And here's the thing about options. If I know where the market's going, I can make a lot more money with options than I can just buying and selling stock. If I know where the market is going and when.
And it's not like he's, privy to private information that only lawmakers would have.
We locked Martha Stewart up for less.
I bet Nancy Pelosi is furious. She was like, this was a good gig until everybody started doing it. Now we got all this heat. Did you understand anything about this
No.
one?
I didn't see this one.
I do not. I read this story, and I probably should just cut it out. But let's just look at it because it's madness.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
The headline is Woman Regrets TikTok Video and Says She Needs Chicken and Not Men. If you watch the video, it sounds like she's saying, I need a husband to help me run things. If you talk to her, she said she wanted to purchase 200 chickens to start a small chicken farm and didn't really have any idea what to do other than the chickens.
I'm not sure how you would.
That was from the original video.
Yeah, but how would you interpret this as chickens?
Read it.
I'm single and I'm looking for someone who could take care of me and love me for who me is and not for who I'm not.
That's the Jamaican accent that you're leaving out there. That's why.
I was like,
Yeah.
I like that they quoted it directly.
Yeah. Well, this is the JamaicanStar.com. I don't know anything about it, but she's looking for chickens if you got extra ones. And you can send them to Jamaica.
It's the
or
season.
you know how to run a chicken farm.
200 chickens is a lot for someone who's never done it before.
I've only got 25 so far in Farm Simulator.
Uh-huh.
This
Lot of
also
work.
turned out to be a bit of a nothing burger. Remember the nothing burger phrase?
They took her cat. She hasn't gotten it back yet.
I don't think she wants it.
Cat enraged after scolding attacks Omaha woman. So this woman has two cats that were fighting. She told them to cool it, and the cat that was fighting started fighting with her. And she finally got it into a bedroom, but animal control came and took the cat.
I've been having a problem with my cats when they'll fight until one of them screams because they're in pain. And traditionally it's been Toast, but the other day I ran in to separate them, and Toast was the one that's screaming. So they're both doing it. I guess I just got to let them hash it out, right?
As long as they're not hurting each other too badly, I would think it's fine.
Well, one day I came in and there was white fur all over the floor, but that could be either of them.
The adopted stray cat at home understands when you respond to its request for food in the affirmative or the negative, and it gets real vindictive when you're like, no, it's not time to eat yet.
Do you just say no, or do you have more of a way to communicate that to it?
Mostly just say no. It's like, no, it's not time. No, you can't have any food. If you be quiet, I'll give you a snack.
They definitely don't understand that one.
No.
But that's pretty much what she described, because she just verbally, well, according to her.
She does understand snack. So if I say the word snack, she'll sit and she'll be quiet, because in order to get the snack, she has to
good.
sit.
Yeah. See, I've been surprised having recently gotten a cat. We always joke and say Rue's stupid, but having a cat, I'm like, Rue's actually pretty intelligent compared to the cat. Like, she knows a lot of words, and she'll listen to you when you ask her to do stuff.
But see, they've done a lot of studies on that, and they've pretty much come to the conclusion that the cats can understand it. They just don't care.
Yeah. But I can tell Rue go to the office, and she knows what room I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever get the cats to do that.
If I say, go outside, she goes to the back door. She knows different parts of the house. She does tricks and stuff, too. It's very smart, but also kind of dumb.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. If I were going to give a word cloud to describe Rue.
Smart's not the first one.
If smart was in it, it'd be real small.
Yeah. When I had her boarded when we got married because we were gone for our honeymoon. And when I got back, the guy who boarded her was also a trainer. And he was like, Rue is so smart. Do you want to do a training thing? And he might have just been trying to sell me. But I was like, have you met this dog?
He was probably like, dear God, this is an unlimited supply of money if I can talk him into this. This is basically a toaster with dog legs.
Oh, she's so cute.
Well, Krista, it's a good thing that you do have two pets.
Yeah.
Because we might be facing some power outages, and things are going to get a little frosty if that happens. This energy company from across the pond has some great advice for you.
Ovo Energy, sorry over advice to cuddle pets to stay warm.
Can you imagine if you're an elderly person and you're trying to decide between energy bills and food, and it's like, you see that would just be so sad and depressing.
So that's not the only thing they tell you to do. You can open your curtains when it's sunny outside. Open your oven after you finished cooking. Obviously, that doesn't really work well with the pet one because they will get in there. And then love on your pets. People responded poorly to this.
Yeah.
You really are at the collapse of society when, you can't afford to heat your home.
I really want a wood stove.
Or the insurance industry is designed to prevent you from having a
way
stove.
to do it yourself. Same thing with like solar panels. They don't want you to have solar panels because then you're free of the grid.
Yeah, and to force you onto the grid the same way they're going to force us into self-driving cars.
You're not going to be insurable without a self-driving car. ... Sad face.
And it's so obvious. But I got to say, boy, I mean, I feel the noose tightening as a pureblood. It's getting crazy. More and more of our freedoms are just stripped away every single day. But you got to step back if you're an American and look at the rest of the world and be like, well, at least we're not here.
Myanmar's Aung San Suu Kyi was jailed for 4 years for walkie-talkie possession. Walkie-talkie. 4 years.
The old walkie-talkie charge. I don't think you get 4 years for getting caught with a walkie-talkie in prison. And they really frown on that. But she was actually the previous leader, the democratically elected leader. Remember the big deal they made about that? Oh, we elected a democratic leader. Until the military coup. That's who charged her with this. Tough times in Myanmar. Did they ever turn their internet back on?
It's a little hit and miss. Mostly miss.
Well, you know what wasn't a miss?
Oh, did you watch this video?
Yeah. Suspected DUI driver hit deer and put it in the hatchback, still alive, and kept driving. So there was more than one person in this car. It's like, what do you do when you hit a deer? It's like, I don't know. I guess we should put it in the back.
Why?
The video is, I thought it was going to just bound out of the trunk, but like the guy just casually picks it up and like puts it down in the field.
Well, if you're that deer, I mean, think about what you just experienced. A giant metal monster came out of nowhere and wrecked you, and you were on the ground stunned, and some weird humans picked you up and put you in the back of it. Like, what are you going to do?
This story may explain some of the alien abduction stories.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you imagine what that deer is telling its friends?
I was in this dark trunk. There was music playing.
Steve, how'd you get those marks on your leg? Bro, you are not going to believe.
I hope he was okay.
Here's a fun green energy article, because when it comes to green energy, it's generally for poor people, not for rich people. Rich people, for some reason, they get to ignore it. And they talk about several kinds of types, but the one that's in particular that angers me is the one at the very top of this list, the yellow band.
EU carbon pricing proposal will exempt heavily polluting ship types. So it's, oil delivery vehicles and fuel
fishing vessels,
but also yachts,
maintenance vessels, and the yachts, the private yachts, mega rich. And that's a pretty big piece of the pie there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I understand we need transport ships, certainly. Fish, who doesn't love a good piece of fish, right? Got to do maintenance. Oil, as much as everybody maligns it, we definitely need that. But do we need Bill Gates tooling around in a mega yacht?
Didn't Bezos spend an obscene amount of money on a yacht recently?
Over $500 million.
They are constantly trying to one-up each other with those giant yachts.
Yeah.
Someone just burn them.
Couldn't we repurpose them?
No.
Somebody needs to paint Wendy's on the side of one, and it'll take care of itself.
I don't know. I don't think those protesters might not be strong swimmers.
The EU, even just like the EU, so, Brexit is also Britain. They're working on their thing. And their carbon credit thing involves, it's fine if the trees come from another continent.
So you spend money to transport them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
The future is local.
There's a lot of things happening that just seem bad.
Well, they don't just seem bad; they are bad. And this is bad. This is bad because you might be thinking, well, it's Los Angeles, and I'm never going to go to Los Angeles because it's a horrible place, and I'm smarter than that. But this can still affect you. I imagine it affects almost everybody in America, or could potentially. Because why? It's our packages. And oh boy, do we need our packages right now.
Thieves raiding cargo containers, stealing packages on the downtown section of the Union Pacific train tracks.
I think we should risk a little bit of video footage here. Look at that.
There were photos I saw of this. I didn't read this particular story, but the photos I saw of it, yeah. That looks insane.
Now
look at all that compost material they're just leaving out to dry.
Here's the other insane thing about that. They cleaned it all up in December.
Yeah.
That's since December. crazy. So they called a couple of people because your phone number is printed on your packages. And they found these looted packages and they called them, and the people, it seemed like mostly it was returns. It was stuff going back to Amazon. I don't know why. Maybe that's that particular area that they were looking in. Maybe
they could, just claim it on their insurance then.
Or it takes longer for somebody to investigate that.
Yeah.
I bet it takes a lot longer, right? Because then the Amazon's going to go to the customer and be like, "I never saw this." Probably takes a couple of weeks for that to shake out.
Here's your shipping label that shows that you did in fact receive it.
They also caught a couple of guys. And another crazy thing about this, so Union Pacific has their own police system. And the agreement with the local police is that the local police will not encroach upon Union Pacific territory. Maybe this is like a TSA type of thing, unless they are asked.
Probably like a university thing, too, because universities have their own police as well.
I don't know if it's related, but that dates back to like the 1800s when the railroad would, shoot looters and stuff like that. And that was it's like, oh, we shouldn't kill people for property rights. You don't have to look very far back in history.
That's probably rooted in some Pinkerton stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's it. If you ever want to read about, basically how all this horror started, and I know about, like the whole Napoleonic War and all that stuff, and that, they were doing it across the pond. But here in this country, the rail barons. Oh my God. If you want to know why modern corporations have so much power, the rail barons. That's why. Yeah. Those guys were monsters. But they accomplished a lot. It's kind of like the Elon Musk thing, right?
Yeah.
Like they were horrible, horrible people, but they got us to the West. Musk's going to get us to Mars, I guess. I don't know.
Or just Dogecoin.
Yeah. I
don't know that he'll get us anywhere, really.
This is a dumb press release. If you buy any of these products, you're an idiot.
Musk says Tesla's going to accept Dogecoin for merchandise.
Him and Grimes must have the same e-store, because I think she announced something similar.
Giga Texas belt buckle? Come on.
Let's hope the power stays on in Texas, eh?
But that's like a cowboy thing. If you drive an electric car, you are not a cowboy.
But you have the idealized cowboy lifestyle. I don't know. I can't with a straight face anymore.
Well, you know who else can't? This young model. And she is upset because she claims that her image was used without her permission. That's a pretty good resemblance, I gotta say.
How would you prove it, though?
Israeli woman sues after unwittingly inspiring a sex doll?
So it's my stomach. I'm very hungry. I had a granola bar.
I thought you were like making an expression.
No, that was my stomach. Oh.
Your stomach just did kind of a little bit of a Ric Flair there, didn't it? So you say, how do you know? Well, there are a couple of things that she points to. First of all, her name is Y-A-E-L. Y'all? Yale? How do you pronounce
I like y'all, personally.
Y'all?
But I don't think that's right.
Where's y'all? And they use that name in some of the marketing material, although when what kind of, I can't pronounce that. Can you? Aranaked marketing? This is a paywall alternative. But she claims that they used her name. These people were not able to find that, but they probably just scrubbed it. Mm-hmm. But also she says the beauty mark, which I think is this thing right here, matches this. And the glasses.
And if they used her name, that's probably pretty convincing. They have to have screenshots or something of that, though, or otherwise it won't count.
I don't know. But she is a public figure. She is a model. She's also one of these like IDF girls. Israel's got this crazy thing where they're military girls. Some of them are drop dead gorgeous. A woman carrying around an assault rifle looking like that, I don't know, it does something to me. I don't know a whole lot about how that works, but isn't every young person supposed to serve briefly in the Israeli military? Yeah, everybody does, right?
Yeah.
But she stuck around.
Oh, okay.
She liked it. Oh, yeah. The Yale head was priced at $420 in 2019. A complete Iron Tech doll with the Yale head is currently on the website for $1,400. Oh, maybe they did find it. I thought they couldn't find it.
Yes, if it's got her name on it, that seems pretty open and shut.
In fact, there's a link. I won't show this to them quite yet.
Oh, it's
just a Twitter, yeah.
Oh, that's Twitter for hashtag sex doll.
Oh, good. Maybe close that.
Yeah.
Wow. The hashtags, man. They're out there. And our final story has to do with animals. I should have put this with the cat stories. But I do love this as an ending story because it's so amazing. And remember the story about the woman who wouldn't stop feeding the horse carrots?
Yes.
Even after they arrested her? I imagine this is the same kind of situation. And unfortunately, this is another horse with serious medical conditions.
Anger after stranger... I don't know how to pronounce that.
Plaits. Oh, is it plate? Plats?
Is it plate?
I don't know. I've never said it out loud.
After stranger braids a horse's mane and field, because I understood that to be braiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a certain kind of braid, right?
I think it's just a word for braid.
I mean, it's glamorous.
An adjective.
Doesn't it look great?
The horse is fabulous.
They even put the little rubber bands on there.
What was the problem with... I mean, you shouldn't do this, but was there like a health reason they didn't want them to braid the horse's hair?
Nah, the braids she wasn't worried about, but this horse has some kind of crazy disease. And she's afraid, just like the woman with the carrots, that somebody's going to feed it a treat, and it cannot have treats.
Oh, okay.
It has Cushing's disease. So Cushing's disease requires it to have a very specific diet and daily treatments. Also, its feet can get messed up. So if this person who's in there leading it around or whatever, it could damage the feet. Basically, this woman took in a very, very sick horse just out of the goodness of her heart. And now somebody's messing with it.
Yeah, and it's probably a really expensive horse to take care of, and one person messing it up would probably make you angry.
Yeah, and I mean, she does have a good point here. It's like, if it's not your horse, don't feed it or touch it.
How hard is that?
You'd be surprised how many people will just come up and touch your dog when you're out walking it. And I'm like, listen, Ruth's friendly and she likes that, but you don't know anything about her. What if she bit you?
Well, on the holler where my parents live, unsurprisingly, most of the holler is just meth and horror and misery and uncontrolled breeding. It's getting really, really bad. And there was a house that's well known for abandoning their pets. I think most of my mom's cats come from that house because they're just like, oh, there's no food here, but she'll feed us. And now they're her cats. They had a horse. And this horse, you could play the xylophone on its ribs. I mean, this horse was really not being looked after. And my mom was this person. She would go and feed that horse. Although she did ask permission. And they were just like, yeah, whatever you want to do. And 2 or 3 weeks later, that horse actually ran away. It's just, I imagine somebody finally found it, but it was just on the loose.
Well, it happens a lot in the town that I live. It's not really even a town where I live. Every other post on the local news area is lost pig, lost horse, someone's dog got out. And that's the only news there is.
But yeah, she would describe feeding this horse and how ravenous it was when it got the food. And maybe that is just her mental illness. Maybe she imagined all that. Maybe it's like the pyro in Team Fortress. She sees animals as, they're fat, but she sees them as emaciated. I don't know. But...
I know the answer to this, but could you not call animal control?
No, because it's a horse that someone owns.
A lot of times if they think that they're being abused, they'll still take them or find someone to take them in.
I don't know. She didn't take that route. The horse solved its own problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what a horse living in the mountains of eastern Kentucky eats.
Ginseng.
That's so devastating for Daniel Boone, but...
How'd we do today on time? 43?
It's not bad.
That's better. That'll be better next week or whenever the news stories start coming out again.
I don't know. Some people really like the 20, 30-minute news.
It's always one or the the
Engagement challenge.
This is for those people.
Yep.
You're welcome.
All right,
see you next week. Be sure to check out Linode and our Devember projects, even though we probably don't have the Devember video out yet. But soon.
Very soon.
We're judging right now. Can you feel us judging you?
All right. We'll see you then. Bye.